think this town is wonderful. The physical surroundings are what make me want to be here.
Oh, the scenery is beautiful. I mean, I don't think there's any scenery in the world compared to Warwick Valley.
I love the farmlands. I love the wooded areas. I love Sterling Forest.
You have the mountains, you have the picturesque valley. I don't think you could find a more picturesque valley, which is what makes it so valuable to so many other people other than farmers.
I like Warwick because it's unique from other towns and it's kind of preserved from older times.
Our entire family enjoys Warwick the way it is now. Obviously, you can't keep development from taking place, but you want to see it grow in a controlled way where the quality of life isn't decimated.
During the last decade, the town of Warwick experienced an astounding 30% increase in population, and with good reason. Warwick is a great place to live. The question is, how do we keep it that way? How do we handle additional growth without sacrificing the quality of life that makes people want to live here in the first place? Let's try an experiment. Picture Warwick 15 years into the future. The year is 2010. Assuming a population increase of only 5% per year, the population will have doubled to 52,000 people. There are 26,000 new people in town. We're still operating under the zoning laws that were in effect in 1995. Let's further assume that the town never adopted a comprehensive open space plan. As a result, the unprotected open space that once defined our town is nearly gone. Development is out of control. The countryside is awash with subdivisions. Our once pristine Sterling Forest is lost forever. Dozens of new paved roads requiring maintenance and plowing have further increased the tax burden. Because there's been no guiding plan, open space isn't all we're losing. The village main streets are in trouble too. Strip malls clutter the once green gateways to our villages and divert shoppers to the outskirts of town. Route 94 looks a lot like Middletown's Route 211. Main Street businesses can't compete. Many have been forced to close their doors as we gear up for strip mall number 10. Gridlock, sprawl, featureless suburbia, endless parking lots where barns and fields used to be. Our beautiful orchards have become condominium complexes. Recreation areas are so jammed that Little League baseball and town soccer are canceled for lack of space. Scary, isn't it? But it really could happen here. And you don't have to look far for the proof. It happened to Bergen County. It happened to Rockland County. It happened to Middletown, Newburgh. That's one possible scenario. Here's another. Once again, picture Warwick in the year 2010. In this scenario, we did adopt a comprehensive open space plan. As a result, we still see cows, horses, and sheep grazing right outside the village limits. Scenic roads and vistas have been preserved. The welcoming green belts that enhance and buffer the approaches to our historic villages and hamlets are still intact. Instead of suburban sprawl, a meaningful distinction between the settled areas and the rural countryside still exists. Because of the open space plan, some homes are clustered on specific sections of a parcel of land, leaving the bulk of the parcel open or available for farming. Our rich historic and cultural heritage has been protected for posterity. Our many streams and lakes enjoy protective setbacks and easy public access for anglers, hunters, and hikers. Farmers thrive under more flexible zoning laws that have allowed them to create home businesses to supplement farm income. And some farmers have made a good profit by selling their development rights instead of their land so that they can continue farming. Taxes are manageable because open space in general and farms in particular require very little in town services, but still contribute substantially to the tax rolls. And open space means our school population has not spiraled out of control. Tourism is thriving and continues to grow because, after all, rural character and open space are the reasons people come to the country. Apple picking, pumpkin picking, the farmer's market, boating and biking and marathons, country dining, horseback riding, Holly Trail, Applefest, Oktoberfest, and the Onion Harvest Festival. All of these activities are flourishing under the open space plan, which has preserved the day in the country so many hunger for. Now let's return to the present. What exactly is an open space plan? It's a plan that determines where and how development should occur, as well as where it should not. By retaining the most important natural, scenic, historic, recreational, and agricultural assets, it concentrates development where it fits best. With an open space plan, there is still growth. The difference is in what kind, where, and how. Let's look at some examples. Here we see an aerial view of a parcel of land before development. Here is the same land using the conventional type of development we have in Warwick. Now look at the same site using a creative development approach. Hard to believe, but there is still the same volume of housing. Houses are clustered, not scattered over lots that are too large to mow but too small to farm. The remainder of the parcel is left open or free for farming. Property values stay high precisely because of all the protected space. Taxes are stabilized because this kind of development costs less to build and less to maintain for the taxpayer. Now let's look at another example. Here we see the current practice of placing large houses in the middle of a field. Now let's look at an alternative. By simply placing the houses at the edge of the field within the tree line, the feeling of open space is preserved. This creative placement can work for industrial development as well. If Warwick adopts an open space plan, our farms and forests will be preserved for future generations. Our precious water supply and aquifers will be mapped out and monitored. Historic buildings, barns, and archaeological sites inventoried and protected. Scenic roads and vistas will be carefully considered when land is developed. Stone walls will be protected. It was 1986 when the Master Plan Survey identified a need for a comprehensive open space plan. A town-wide poll taken at that time showed that rural character was the #1 reason people moved to or stayed in Warwick.
Ever since the time I was a young boy and had exposure to different dairy farms in the area, there was a certain feeling that kind of attracted me to the business. One of the biggest difficulties is that the land here in Warwick has become almost too valuable to farm. And I think that's kind of a sad testimony as to the times we're living in, because once land is taken out of agriculture or natural resources, generally speaking, it will never again return to that.
There's a lack of alternatives for farmers who want to get the dollar value out of their land, which they have a right to do. And I think a town that values its agricultural industry must provide alternatives.
Creating an open space plan may sound like an overwhelming task, but our Conservation Board and Architectural Review Board have been working on developing just such a plan for years. In fact, the Planning Board recommended that the town adopt a comprehensive open space plan back in January of 1993. All we really need to get started is a resolution from the town board, and the appointment of a corps of dedicated citizens who would form the Open Space Commission.
The valley where windows look over the borders onto blankets of green over maples of gold. Where the
We've all seen how quickly a beautiful town like Warwick can lose its heart and soul to suburbia. Some will argue that this is the price of progress in a free market economy. Economics rule. Growth is crucial. But with an open space plan, we don't have to choose between economic growth and our beautiful countryside. A sound plan not only provides for both, it insists on it. Without a plan, we won't have either. Current trends towards sprawl and loss of open space aren't going to magically reverse direction by themselves. It's going to take vision, dedication, and commitment to a plan.
Well, I'd like to stay in Warwick if it stayed a little out-of-the-way country place, and I don't want it to grow into a big city. If it does, I want to move somewhere where it would be more like country.
There are children who play to the chorus of songbirds. They can laugh in the fields where their grandfathers lived, where the sun meets the hills and the hills reach the heavens, where the hay wagon wishes come true. In the valley.
What will our children and grandchildren thank us for? What are we going to leave for them? A collection of beautiful pictures like these of what this valley once looked like? Or a true heritage? Like this ancient oak we all love, a legacy of strength that has endured from the time the Indians roamed this valley, we can leave our children and our grandchildren a legacy that will endure.